Hey guys, how are you? Welcome back to Chemistry with DPK sir. Oh, very good guys. Today we are going to discuss about hallucination of alkanes. Okay, so guys, today's my promise is that watch the video from the first to last so that you will be perfect in this chapter, in this topic. Okay, and you need not to refer any book if you watch this video from the first to last. Okay, everything about the hallucination of alkanes I'm gonna cover here. So let us start. Let us enjoy about the topic of hallucination of alkanes. Okay, right. Okay, so as usual guys, again I'm telling, so if you are watching my video for first time, okay, if you like this, watch video from the first to last. If you like it, so give a like and subscribe it, and if you think it is useful to you and your friends also, please share this video with your friends, okay, through WhatsApp, Insta, Facebook, etc., whatever the route you have. Okay, so make it viral with your friends. Okay, right guys, let us start the chemistry about the hallucination of alkane. Okay, done. Good. So guys, generally what is hallucination? First let us see that. Okay, hallucination means reacting with the halogen, or introduction of the halogen into substrate molecule is called as a hallucination. Okay now, so we are going to react a halogen with water, with the alkane, so that is called as a hallucination of alkane. So generally guys, here see, alkane means we can represent alkane with the RH. Okay now, whose formula is a CnH2n plus 2. So whenever you react this alkane with the halogen, what happens here? Let me tell you that. So what happens here is very simple, very simple. So the hydrogen atom, one of the hydrogen atoms of alkane, okay, will be replaced by the halogen. So that what happens is here we will get this product. Okay, we are getting this product. Okay now, so here hydrogen atom of alkane is replaced by the halogen. So this is called as a alkyl halide. Okay, what is the formula of alkyl halide? R is a alkyl CnH2n plus 1. So instead of the hydrogen, halogen is substituted. So that what happens here, we are getting alkyl halide. So this reaction is called as a hallucination reaction, because we are reacting the alkane with the halogen. So reacting with the halogen is called as a hallucination, and in which hydrogen is replaced by the halogen atom. Therefore this is called as a substitution reaction. It is called as a substitution reaction. So guys, the important thing here, we must know that, so what are the conditions for this reaction? Okay, if this reaction to be occur in the reaction plus, we need to mention some conditions. What are the conditions we can mention here? So remember the conditions for this reaction I'm writing here. So number one, okay, the reaction, okay, to proceed any reaction requires some energy now. So that energy we can give from the sunlight, because so light is consist of energy now. So it is energy packets. It is consist of energy packets called as a photons, quantas. So that energy present in the light is sufficient to initiate this reaction. So the reaction can be takes place in the sunlight, particularly the energy present in the UV region is enough. Okay now, R, so the reaction can be carried out at a high temperature. Okay, it can carried out at a high temperature. Why sir? Why high temperature only? Well, so why? Because alkanes are called as a paraffins. Alkanes, another name is paraffin. Alkanes also known as a paraffin. Paraffin means less reactive, lazy molecules. These are yes, why? Because all the bonds present on the carbon atoms are the stronger covalent sigma bonds. So that is the reason why its reactivity is less. So therefore, so it required some drastic conditions like a high temperature. Okay now, and also we required some reaction initiators. Okay, generally we will use a peroxides. Okay, we can use peroxides like this. Okay, so we can use a peroxide. Okay, generally what are the general peroxides we can use? Okay, remember, okay, we can use this peroxide. This is called as a acetyl peroxide. Or guys, okay, we can also use some other peroxides like benzoyl peroxide. Okay, benzoyl peroxide. Okay, like this. Benzoyl peroxide can also be used. And also guys, okay, we can also use another initiator of the reaction, that is tetraethyl lead. Okay, we can use that, is simply called as a TEL. TEL means tetra ethyl lead. Okay, this is can also be used as a initiator. Okay, tetraethyl lead. Okay, you can write its structure like this. Okay, so C2H5 taken 4. So these are the conditions we have to mention for the halogenation of the alkanes here. Okay, this is general simple introduction only. Now let us see how the reaction will take place. That means mechanism of the reaction. Okay, now we will go to the detailed explanation with the mechanism of this halogenation of alkanes. Then we will come to know that why it is called as a free radical substitution reaction. Okay, let us enjoy it, guys. Okay, right. Okay, well guys, let's see the mechanism of this reaction. Generally, the reaction, okay, this reaction involves, okay, it involves in 3 steps, guys. It involves in how many steps? 3 steps. Okay, so let's see what are all the 3 steps one by one in detail. Okay, now, so the first step of the reaction is here now. So generally, this reaction is taking place in the presence of the sunlight. Remember, so whatever the reaction which is taking place in the presence of the sunlight or UV light or at a high temperature are radical initiators. The reaction will proceed through the generation of the radicals. The radical means free radical. What is a free radical, guys? Unpaired electron containing species is called as a free radical. So here, so it involves in the 3 steps. Those steps are called as a chain initiation step. Why it is called as a chain initiation step? Okay, the first step is called as a chain initiation step. So why it is called as a chain initiation step? Yes, why chain? Chain means, okay, continuous. Once if the radical is generated in the reaction will take place continuously. We cannot stop the reaction at the middle of the stage. So that is the reason why, due to the continuity in the reactivity, the reactions are called as a chain reactions. And this is an initiation step, means the first step, okay, which is going to initiate the reaction. So in this step, what happens here? So generally halogen is here now. Halogen is here between the 2 halogens, covalent sigma bond is here. So in the presence of the peroxides, or in the presence of the sunlight, what happens here? So generally the bond between the 2 halogen atoms undergoes a homolytic cleavage. So homolytic cleavage is represented with the fish hook. Okay, right, it is undergoing the homolytic cleavage. So due to the homolytic cleavage, what happens? So every halogen will equally share the 1 electrons here. So here it will get 1 electron. Another halogen will also get the 1 electron. So unpaired electron particles are produced. So these unpaired electron particles are called as a free radicals. Okay, free radicals. What is the magnetic nature of the free radicals? Paramagnetic in nature due to the presence of unpaired electron, right? So it is producing the free radicals. So these free radicals are named as a halogen radical. Okay, this is called as halogen radical. Okay, now, right. So generally, before this reaction, what happens is, first this free radical undergoes a homolytic cleavage. Okay, sorry, this peroxide undergoes a homolytic cleavage like this. Okay, you can write it like this. Okay, so it is undergoing the homolytic cleavage and it can produce 2 alkoxy radicals. So this, in the presence of this alkoxy radical, the bond between the 2 halogens undergoes a homolytic cleavage. Okay, like this. So then you will get this one. Okay, and the halogen radical. Okay, like this general the mechanism we can write here. Okay, so if you use only sunlight, you can write like this. If you use the peroxides, okay, you can write like this. Okay, 2 ways of mechanisms we can write. So if the peroxide is there, that peroxide will generate the alkoxy radical. That alkoxy radical will generate the radical from the reagent. Okay, guys, following, right? Well, now let's see. Okay, here halogen radical is initiated, halogen radical is generated. Remember, guys, once in a chain reactions, once a radical is generated, that radical will react with another stable molecule to produce a new stable substance and a new radical. Okay, so that is called as a chain propagation step. Let's see how will be the chain propagation step here. Okay, well guys, let's see chain propagation step. So propagation means to develop. So number of radicals will be developed as maximum number of radicals will be developed in this step. Let's see how it will be. So remember, so once a radical is generated in a reaction, so this radical will react with another stable compound. So this is stable substance alkane here. So here what happens here, in the presence of the radical, the sigma bond between the carbon and hydrogen undergoes a homolytic cleavage. So then what happens here, we can see the generation of the new radicals. One is a alkyl radical, another one is a hydrogen radical. So this alkyl radical combines with this halogen radical and results in the formation of the alkyl halide, and also it results in the formation of the hydrogen radical. Okay, again what happens here? So this hydrogen radical reacts with another stable compound like a halogen. Okay, so in the presence of the radical, what is happening here? Already I told you, in the presence of the radical, this bond undergoes a homolytic cleavage. So so this hydrogen radical will react with another halogen radical and it forms a hydrogen halide and one more new radical like this. So like this, likewise what happens is the number of radicals will be developed. It will be continuously developed in this reaction, okay, in this stage. So therefore that is the reason why, okay, this is called as a chain, okay, propagation step here. So next is that the last step is called as a chain termination step. Okay, let us see what is chain termination step here. Termination means to stop, to prevent. Okay, let's see how the chain termination will take place here. So guys, in this termination, okay, because the radicals are the more reactive, less stable and highly reactive, so whatever the available radicals are adjacent to each other, all those radicals will react together to get the stabilization by forming the new products here. Let me show you that. Suppose consider here alkyl radical is here. So alkyl radicals can be reacts together. Okay, alkyl radical can react together. Okay, now like this, and two alkyl radicals can react together to give some higher alkanes also. This is also possible, and one alkyl radical can react with a halogen radical to produce a alkyl halide. This is also possible here, and two halogen radicals also can be react together to form the halogen. So like this, whatever the radicals are available, all those radicals will react to each other and results in the formation of the different mixture of the products here. So this is called as a chain termination step. So like this, what happens is, okay, in these reactions, okay, so we have the three steps. It proceeds to the formation of the radicals. Okay, the reaction which is proceeding to the formation of the radicals is continuously takes place. So therefore these reactions are called as the chain reactions, and here we can divide this mechanism into three steps, okay, for the sake of easy understanding. So one is a chain initiation step, in which the radical will be generated. Okay, the radical will be generated in the presence of the sunlight or in the presence of the radical initiator like peroxides or lead, okay, tetraethyl lead here. So once a radical is generated, that radical will be reacts with a stable compound, to produce a new stable compound and another radical. So this radical will be reacts with another stable compound to produce another stable compound and one more radical here. Like that, okay, all the possible number of the radicals will be initiated here. So once okay, all the possible radicals are initiated, in which what happens is one of the compounds will be completely consumed. So when one of the compounds is completely consumed, then only the termination will take place here. So if one of the compounds is completely consumed, what happens? Remaining radicals will react together, okay, all these, okay, to produce different products here. So here we are getting the mixture of the different products. Okay, this is the mechanism of the free radical substitution reaction. Okay, this is called as a free radical substitution reaction. Why it is called as a free radical substitution reaction? Why? Because the hydrogen atom is replaced by the radical, halogen radical. Okay, therefore this is called as a free radical substitution reaction. So this is the mechanism of the reaction. Okay, now let us enjoy the most important topics here. Okay, now, right guys. Okay, well guys, so in this reaction what is happening here? So we know that, so one alkane is reacting with the halogen and results in the formation of the respective alkyl halide and hydrogen halide is a byproduct. Okay, now here what we have to discuss? Here we have to discuss about some reactivity order. So we have to discuss about the reactivity of the halogen. We have to discuss about the reactivity of the different types of the hydrogens, and also one more important thing guys, you must remember. So here is one condition for the free radical substitution reactions. Remember, free radical substitution takes place on the sp3 carbon atom only. Okay, sp3 carbon atom only, very important, you must remember. So we have to discuss about the reactivity of these sp3 carbon atoms only. Okay, let us see we have to discuss about the reactivity order of the sp3 carbon, hydrogen and halogen one by one in detail. Okay, right. So first let us go through the reactivity order of halogens. Okay, reactivity order of halogens. Okay, right. So guys, what are the halogens we have? Okay, we have the different types of the halogens. Okay, like fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, right? So fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. So here see, reactivity of these halogens is directly proportional to electronegativity. So that which is a more electronegative? Yes, we know that okay, fluorine is more electronegative. From the fluorine to iodine, electronegativity decreases. As decreasing the electronegativity, the reactivity also decreases. So which is a more reactive towards a given hydrogen? So that is fluorine is more reactive than chlorine, then bromine, then iodine. Okay, so the reaction with the fluorine is called as a fluorination reaction. Okay, reaction with the fluorine is called as a fluorination reaction. Okay, so remember the fluorination reactions are the very fast reactions. Okay, these are very fast reactions and highly exothermic reactions. Okay, these are very fast and highly exothermic reactions. Okay, very high, it means very high amount of heat energy will be released, and it causes to the explosion. So it is a explosive reaction. Okay, it is explosive reaction. So therefore what happens is we have to maintain the very mild conditions. Okay, so these reactions takes place even in the dark. Okay, even in dark. Okay, the fluorination can take place even in dark. Even sunlight is also not required. That much of reactivity is there for the fluorine. So therefore the reaction will occurs even in the dark also. So this is about the fluorination. And next guys, if you see the reaction with the chlorine, reaction with the chlorine is called as a chlorination. Okay, chlorination. And reaction with the bromine is called as a bromination here. Okay, now so remember, with respect to these two, chlorination and brominations, we have to discuss one important thing here. So what are the important things we have to discuss? For okay, when you compare the reactivity of the chlorine and bromine, sir, for chlorine reactivity is more. For chlorine reactivity is more. So if the reactivity is more, remember selectivity is less. Okay, selectivity okay is less. So for chlorine reactivity is more, so selectivity is less. But whereas for the bromine, okay, reactivity is okay less, but selectivity is more. Okay, selectivity is more. This is you must remember here. Okay, so what is reactivity, what is selectivity, we will discuss in the next upcoming examples. Okay, so up to that just remember, for chlorine reactivity is more and selectivity is less, whereas for the bromine reactivity is less and the selectivity is more here. Now guys, here see the reaction with the iodine. Okay, reaction with the iodine is called as a iodination reaction. Okay, this is called as a iodination reaction. So remember, iodination reaction generally takes place slowly. So this is a slow reaction. Okay, it is slow reaction. It is not only slow reaction guys, it is a reversible reaction. It is reversible reaction. Okay, now so you must remember, okay, it is reversible reaction. Since it is a reversible reaction, generally iodination okay requires, okay, so or it carried okay in the presence of some okay oxidizing agents. Okay, in the presence of okay oxidizing agents. So what are the oxidizing agents we can use here? So we can use oxidizing agents like okay, that is nitric acid. Okay, you can use nitric acid, or you can use iodic acid, or you can also use mercuric oxide. Any one of these oxidizing agents we can use here. Why sir, what happens here? Let me tell you that. Why should we use this oxidizing agent? Okay, see, suppose if you see any reaction, okay, any alkane you may take, okay, reacted with the iodine, okay, then what happens here? Here it produces a respective alkyl iodide and hydrogen iodide now. So I told you that this reaction is a reversible reaction, so it occurs in the both forward and backward direction, and it can establish the equilibrium now. So guys, need to remember the chemical equilibrium Lee Chaudière application. Okay, so the reaction can also be takes place in the backward direction. So what is our intention? Our intention is to produce a more amount of alkyl halides. So for that purpose, what we have to do is, if you decrease the concentration of hydrogen iodide, or by increasing the concentration of the iodine, you can move forward this reaction towards forward direction. Okay, we can move the reaction towards the forward reaction either by increasing the concentration of the iodine or by the decreasing the concentration of the hydrogen iodide. Let's see how can we do this. Is it possible or not? Yes sir, it is easily possible. It is easily possible. Let me tell you how it is taking place here. Suppose if you are using the iodic acid. Okay, suppose if you are using iodic acid. Okay, so we are using the iodic acid. If you are using the iodic acid, let's see how the reaction will take place here. So guys, this is a generalization. This is a reversible reaction. Okay, in which, so whenever we are using iodic acid, so this iodic acid will react with the hydrogen iodide produced here. This is a hydrogen iodide produced here. Okay, and what happens here is it can form the iodine under water molecules. So if you balance this equation, you can write here 5 moles and here 3 moles and here 3 moles, right? So here it is a balanced equation. Now here see in this reaction what is happening here. So whatever the hydrogen iodide produced here, so this hydrogen iodide immediately reacting with this iodic acid. So this iodic acid is converting the hydrogen iodide into iodine. It means that what happens? So hydrogen iodide is consuming in the reaction, means its concentration is decreasing. Meanwhile, iodine is produced here. That means iodine concentration is increasing. So if the reactant concentration is more, reaction will take place in the forward direction. So forward reaction is favored here. If the product concentration is less, reaction will be move in the forward direction. So again, the reaction will be proceed in the forward direction. So like this, okay, what happens is the oxidizing agents like iodic acid, nitric acid, or mercuric oxide, okay, will react with this hydrogen iodide to increase iodine concentration. So that forward reaction will be favored. So that is the reason why the iodination must be carried in the presence of the oxidizing agents. Hope it is clear, right? Well guys, well here see the reaction with the nitric acid also. So nitric acid again reacting with the hydrogen iodide, okay, and so this hydrogen iodide is converting into iodine. So that means iodine concentration is increasing, hydrogen iodide concentration is decreasing. So that reaction can be forward in move in forward direction. Okay, like that is the reason why we should use these reagents, okay, oxidizing agents here. So this is about the order of the reactivity and different conditions and different nature of all these, okay, hallucination reactions. Now let us see the order of reactivity of hydrogen atoms. How will be the order of reactivity of the hydrogen atoms here? So if you see that guys, okay, generally hydrogens are the 3 different types. What are the 3 different types of the hydrogens are there? Okay, let us see that. Okay, so reactivity order, okay, reactivity of hydrogen. Let's see that. So in the reactivity of hydrogen, generally hydrogens are the 3 types. What are the 3 types of hydrogens? Let me give you with simple example. Okay, CH3, okay, CH2, CH3, okay, and C. Okay, that's all. Okay, CH3 and CH3. See guys, okay, we know now. So which carbon it is? Primary carbon, because it is attached to only one adjacent carbon. So therefore these hydrogens are called as a primary hydrogens. This is a secondary carbon because it is attached to 2 neighbor carbons. So the hydrogens on the secondary carbon are called secondary hydrogens. And this is attached, this carbon is attached with 1, 2, 3 carbon. Therefore this is a tertiary carbon, and the hydrogen on the tertiary carbon is called as a tertiary hydrogens. Okay, quaternary carbon, this is attached with the 4 neighbor carbons. Therefore this is called as a quaternary carbon. Quaternary carbon is also called as a neo carbon. Neo means center from the 4 sides. So quaternary carbon will not contain any hydrogen, right? Okay, good. So how many types of hydrogens are there? Primary hydrogen, secondary hydrogen, tertiary hydrogens are there. Now let us see the reactivity order of these hydrogens towards a given halogen. So remember, okay, tertiary hydrogen is more reactive than secondary hydrogen, then primary hydrogen, and then the hydrogen on the methane. Okay, so this is the order of reactivity of the hydrogens towards a given halogen. Okay, it means that, so if you add the halogen to this, suppose if you add the bromine to this, so which will be selectively replaced, the more reactive hydrogen can be, okay, react readily with the available reagent halogen, like that. So if the tertiary is not there, then secondary is reactivity is some more, then primary reactivity is more, like that we can write the order of reactivity of the hydrogens towards a given halogen. Okay, now right. Well guys, now let's see reactivity of carbon atoms. So I told you now, so which carbon will be subjected to the hallucination? Sp3 carbon atom. Let us see the sp3 carbon reactivity here. Generally guys, I'm simply telling that, okay, remember benzylic carbon atoms, okay, benzylic carbons are the more reactive than allylic carbon, and allylic carbons are the more reactive than alkyl carbon atoms. So again in the benzylic carbons are again 3 types now: tertiary benzylic, secondary benzylic, and primary benzylic. And allylic again 3 types, okay, tertiary, secondary, and primary. Alkyl carbons also 3 types, okay, tertiary, secondary, primary, and the least is carbon atom of the methane. So like this guys, okay, what happens is the order of reactivity, okay, follows like this. Okay, remember this is very very important for you. So which is a more reactive carbon? Here tertiary benzylic carbon atom is more reactive, then secondary benzylic, then primary benzylic, then again tertiary allylic, okay, tertiary allylic, then secondary, then primary, again then okay, tertiary alkyl, okay, secondary alkyl, primary alkyl, and carbon atom of the methane. So this is what, okay, the order of reactivity of the carbon atoms. You must remember about this order of reactivities. Okay, hope you understand this. So this is about the reactivity orders under three different cases of halogens, hydrogens, and carbon atoms, okay, where the halogenation is taking place, called as a reactive carbon. Okay, right guys, now let's see some important things, okay, further important things here. Well guys, let's see that this is a very very important topic, that is about monohalogenation of alkane. Okay, so in this, what is important for competitive exams? Okay, so one of the important things is that how to identify number of the products formed here. If you see the previous competitive entrance exam questions, okay, like JEE mains, advanced, and NEET, and all competitive exams, okay, so the questions are there based on this topic. Okay, let me tell you that. Okay, so what we are going to discuss here, how to find out or how to identify the number of products formed here. So for example guys, if you take one of the examples, suppose if you take the methane. So when you react it with the chlorine, okay, when you react it with the chlorine in the presence of the light, okay, how many products will be formed here? So I'm writing one of the products, okay, that is chlorine, methyl chloride. So monohalogenation, that means only one hydrogen will be replaced by the chlorine. This is called as a monohalogenation. Okay, so for that we have to take the halogen for one equivalent. Okay, for one equivalent. Okay, so here how many products are forming? Okay, methyl chloride, only one product is forming. Okay, how to identify that? Okay, we will come to know with further example. Suppose if you take the ethane, in ethane how many hydrogens are there? In ethane total 6 hydrogens are there. If you react it with the chlorine in the presence of the sunlight and monochlorination, one hydrogen will be replaced by the chlorine. Suppose on this carbon 3 hydrogens are there. If you replace hydrogen by the one of the hydrogens by the chlorine, you can write the product like this. Correct now? What is the name of this molecule? Chloroethane. Chloroethane. And next, on this carbon also 3 hydrogens are there. Now substitute one of the hydrogens from here now. So CH3, CH2. Now here one hydrogen is replaced by the chlorine. What is the name of this molecule? This is also named as chloroethane. Now see guys here. So we are writing the two products, but what is the IUPAC name of the two products? The IUPAC name of these two products is the same. So guys, we know now, according to IUPAC system, the compounds which are having the same IUPAC names are the same compounds. That means these two are the same compounds. So it means that when you subject the ethane to the monochlorination, it will give us only one product. How many products are produced here? Here is one product is produced. Similarly, let us go to some other examples. Well, this is another example. See, propane is there. In the propane, 3 carbons are there. 1, 2, 3 carbons are there. At the first carbon, 3 hydrogens. Second carbon, 2 hydrogens. Third carbon, 3 hydrogens are there. So to identify the products, I am telling you the simple trick here. What you do is, substitute the hydrogens on each carbon atom. Okay, one hydrogen on each carbon atom by the chlorine. Write their IUPAC names. And find out write all the possible products. And find out, write the IUPAC names of those compounds. From the IUPAC names, you can identify the number of the products here. How? So the compounds which are having the same IUPAC names are the same kind. So we should not write the same compound for the repeated times. Only one time you have to write. And the second thing is that the compounds with the different IUPAC names are the different possible isomers. That's all. Okay. So now let us see that. Suppose if you replace a hydrogen, so any one of the hydrogen from the first carbon, what you will get? You will get this compound. Okay, Cl, CH2, CH2, CH3. So this is what is IUPAC name of this molecule. IUPAC name plays important role to identify this compound. Okay, the number of the products here. So this is 1-chloropropane. 1-chloropropane. Okay. Now replace any one of the hydrogens from the second carbon atom from this. So what it will be? CH3. Okay, here is CH2. Okay, out of the 2 hydrogens, one hydrogen is going to replace it by chlorine atom, and next CH3 is as it is. Okay, what is the IUPAC name of this molecule? So the name of this molecule is 2-chloropropane. Okay, this is called as a 2-chloropropane. So tell me, sir, 1-chloropropane, 2-chloropropane same or different? IUPAC names are the different. Therefore, these two are the different compounds. Now again, if you replace a hydrogen from here, okay, let's see how it will be. Okay, let me write here. If you replace a hydrogen from here, so here is a CH3, and next is CH2, and the next out of the 3 hydrogens, one hydrogen should be replaced by the chlorine. What is the name of this molecule? Again, numbering will be from here now. So this is called as a 1-chloropropane. So 1-chloropropane, 1-chloropropane. Repeatedly it is coming. So don't write again. So how many products we are getting? 2 products we are getting. What are the 2 products? One is 1-chloropropane, another one is a 2-chloropropane. Now here I will tell you some important terminology. So guys, here see, in the first carbon and third carbon atom of the propane, okay, total how many hydrogens are there? Here 3 hydrogens, here 3 hydrogens, total 6 hydrogens are there. All the 6 hydrogens are giving the same products now on the monochlorination, right? So that is 1 chloropropane. Therefore, all the 6 hydrogens are called as equivalent hydrogens, okay? So remember, note point is that equivalent hydrogens, okay? Equivalent hydrogens, okay? Always gives single product, okay? This is what you should remember, okay now, right? So these 6 hydrogens are the equivalent, therefore all the 6 hydrogens are giving one product on the monochlorination, and these two are the equivalent, so therefore these two also gives a one product. And if you compare, okay, let us label all the 6 hydrogens which are equivalent with A. Okay, all are giving the same product, therefore same symbol I am giving. These two are giving the same product but different from the A now, so therefore these are the 2 hydrogens. Now, so here all the 6 hydrogens are the equivalent and these 2 B hydrogens are the equivalent. But what about the A and B? A and B are giving the different hydrogens. So the hydrogens which are giving the different products are called as a non-equivalent hydrogens. Okay, remember, non-equivalent hydrogens gives a different products here. Okay, now, so 2 types of hydrogens will be there, equivalent and non-equivalent hydrogens. So the number of the products are equal to the kind of hydrogens present here. So finally what we can conclude here is, what we are concluding, number of monochloro derivatives are equal to types of hydrogens present. Those types of hydrogens means non-equivalent hydrogens, okay? So in the propane molecule, so 2 non-equivalent hydrogens are there, that means 2 types of hydrogens are there, therefore it is giving the 2 products. Like this we have to write the number of the products. Let me give you a few more examples for the sake of easy understanding. Well guys, let us go to the another example, that is butane. Butane formula is a C4H10. How many butanes we can write with this formula? So we can write CH3, CH2, CH2, CH3. This is called as N-butane and this is the isobutane. So remember, this group with the minimum 4 carbons is called as a butyl group. Okay, since it is a saturated hydrocarbon containing the iso group. Okay, iso group. So this is called as a isobutane here. So 2 types of the butanes are there. So now when you subject the N-butane to the monochlorination, how many products will be produced? And when you subject the isobutane to the monochlorination, how many products we are going to get? Okay, let us see that individually. Okay, now, right. So guys, here see, for example, here I'm taking the N-butane. I'm taking N-butane. So in N-butane, this is N-butane. So how many carbons are there, guys? 4 carbons are there. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. And total 10 hydrogens are there. Let us see how many types of hydrogens. 10 hydrogens are equal to how many types. Okay, that is important to identify here. See, okay, if you substitute any one of the hydrogens, okay, of this carbon by the chlorine, only one hydrogen you have to replace. Okay, I'm replacing the hydrogen from here by the chlorine. What we are getting here? 1 chlorobutane we are getting. And so that means all the 3 hydrogens, okay, will give the same product. Therefore, these 3 hydrogens are the same kind. So we can write them as equivalent hydrogens A. And similarly, if you substitute the hydrogen from here by the chlorine, then also you will get the 1 chlorobutane, because now numbering will be starts from here. So 1 chlorobutane. So these 3 hydrogens and these 3 hydrogens total giving the 6 hydrogens giving the same product. So all the 6 hydrogens, since giving the same product, they are the equivalent. So total 6 hydrogens are the one kind. And guys, here see, if you substitute the hydrogen from this carbon atom, okay, by chlorine, okay, you will get this product. Okay, this is called as a 2-chlorobutane. So these two are the same kind, but giving the different product compared to these 6 hydrogens. So therefore, you can label it with B. And when you suppose if you substitute that hydrogen from here, also you will get the 2-chlorobutane. That means these hydrogens are giving the same product. Therefore, this is also B type. So total, how many types of the hydrogens are there? Total 2 types of the hydrogens are there. So how many products we will get? 2 products we will get. So the monochlorination of the N-butane, can produce 2 products. Okay, 2 products. Okay, what are the 2 products here? One is 1-chlorobutane, another one is a 2-chlorobutane. Okay, similarly, let us see how many products we will get from the isobutane also. Well, here see, this is isobutane. So how many types of hydrogens are there? Suppose guys, if you replace a hydrogen from, okay, these 3, any one of the hydrogen from this carbon. So what you will get here? You are getting, okay, this product. Okay, this product is called as a 1-chloro-2-methyl propane. So all the 3 hydrogens are the equivalent. In case if you substitute the hydrogen from this carbon also, you will get the same product. Numbering will be from this side, 1-chloro-2-methyl propane. If you substitute the hydrogen from here also, you will get the same product. That means all the 9 hydrogens are the one type, okay, equivalent hydrogens. and this hydrogen is giving the different product, that is 2-chloro-2-methyl propane. So this is B type. So total how many types of hydrogens are there? 2 types of hydrogens are there. So on monochlorination, how many products it is giving? It is giving the 2 products. Okay, like this you have to identify that. So that means okay, so if you take C4H10, okay, if the question is like this, okay, on monochlorination, okay, and reacting with the chlorine, one equivalent of the chlorine, okay, so in the presence of the sunlight, total how many products are getting? We are getting the 4 products. Okay, 2 products are from the N-butane, okay, 2 products are from the isobutane. Total we are getting 4 products. Okay, like this you have to write. So read the question correctly, whether they are asking from the, okay, butane, or okay, if they generalize it as a butane, okay, 2 butanes are possible, so total you will get the 4 products. If the question is about the number of possible monochloro derivatives of the N-butane means only 2, isobutane means only 2, butane means total 4. Okay, this is what you have to understand. Okay, like this you have to write the number of possible alkanes. Okay, for the sake of your practice, I am giving, okay, to write the number of possible monochloro derivatives of the pentanes. Okay, so what is a pentane and how many pentanes we can write? From each pentane how many derivatives we can write? So answer that, and answer, okay, send me your answer in comment box. Okay, I will give you that one. Well, here see, this is pentane. So pentane formula is the C5H12. With the pentane we can write the 3 pentanes. Okay, 1 N-pentane, and number 2 isopentane, number 3 neopentane. So what you guys do is, from the N-pentane, how many monochloro derivatives are possible? From the isopentane, how many are possible? From neopentane, how many are possible? Okay, find out, and write your correct answer. Okay, whether it may be wrong, also write it. I will make it correct. Okay, na? So write it in comment box. Okay, I will see that. I'm telling you, I'm giving you one hint. Okay, so from N-pentane, okay, you will get the 3 products. I'm giving the hint. Write the correct structures. Okay, 3 products you will get, and here you will get the 4 products. Here you will get the 1 product. Okay, total how many products are possible? 8 products are possible. Okay, do practice. Okay, write at home. Okay, and if you have any doubt whether it may be right or wrong, okay, put in the comment box. Okay, so this is about how to identify the number of possible alkanes and the monochlorination. Okay, and now we will discuss one more very important topic for the competitive exams. Okay, let us see that. Well guys, now let us see calculation of percentage yield. Means, what is the calculation of the percentage yield? Okay, let us see that. For example, let me give you some examples here. So guys, whenever you are doing the monochlorination of the methane, okay, in the presence of the sunlight or some peroxides, okay, now then what happens? One of the hydrogens will be replaced by chlorine, and on the monochlorination, how many products you are getting? Only 1 product you are getting. Suppose if you take the ethane, okay, on monochlorination of ethane, also how many products we will get? We will get only 1 product, that is ethyl chloride. Okay, and meanwhile, if you take propane, how many products we are getting? Already we discussed that 2 products we are getting. One is N-propyl chloride, another one is a isopropyl chloride here. So here I am telling you one hint guys. So in any reaction on the monochlorination, if it is producing the single product, means its percentage of the yield will be 100%. So here also 100% will be get. But here you are getting more than 1 product now, halo derivatives. So definitely the percentage will be different. Now let us see how much percentage of the 1-chloropropane is produced and how much percentage of the 2-chloropropane is produced here. So this is what the topic we are discussing. Very important for competitive exams. Okay, very easy guys. Okay, let us enjoy it. Right. For that guys, I'm going to give you some formulas. Okay, so just note those formulas and do practice with those formulas and remember the formula. That is important. Okay, now right, let me give you those formulas guys. Well, see here. Okay, this is a formula which is used to calculate the percentage of yield of alkyl halide produced here. So that is equal to, it is a ratio, okay, that is relative amount of the product produced by total amount of all the products, okay, total amount of all products here into 100. Okay, this is a formula. And what is the relative amount here? Relative amount means the number of equivalent hydrogens producing the product into their relative reactivity, guys. Already we discussed how to identify the number of equivalent hydrogens. Now let me tell you what is their relative reactivity. If you know this, okay, you can calculate the percentage of the yield very easily. Okay, for that, okay, here see, I will give you the information about, okay, the relative reactivities of all the hydrogens. See guys, here I am giving you this relative reactivity. Okay, here see the types of hydrogens. We have the three different types of hydrogens, okay, based on the nature of the carbon. As a primary, secondary, tertiary hydrogens are there. RR I am writing. RR is nothing but relative reactivity. It is nothing but relative reactivity. Okay, right. And relative reactivity, okay, of these hydrogens towards chlorination and towards bromination is a different. Here see, okay, primary hydrogen's reactivity if you consider as a 1, okay, secondary hydrogen will be 3.8 times greater reactive than primary hydrogens, and tertiary hydrogen is 5 times greater reactive than primary hydrogen in the chlorination reaction. Whereas in the bromination, primary hydrogen is, if it is reacting for one time, okay, at the same time, okay, secondary hydrogen will be reacted by the 82 times faster, and tertiary hydrogen is reacting for 1600 times faster. See, the reactivity, relative reactivity of the primary, secondary, tertiary hydrogens, okay, is gradually increasing in both chlorination and bromination. Okay, but here see the relative reactivity of the bromination is a more, selective reactivity is a more than chlorination here. So based on this information, what we can conclude here, so for chlorine, reactivity is a more, so that it can react almost with the equal ratios with almost, not same, okay, with all the available hydrogens. So because of its selectivity is a less. But whereas the bromine, okay, reactivity is a less, selectivity is a more. So if suppose in a molecule primary, secondary, tertiary hydrogens are there, so where it can attack readily, which hydrogen will be replaced readily, tertiary hydrogen will be replaced readily, because okay, its selectivity is a more and reactivity towards the tertiary hydrogen is a more. So this is what you guys must understand here. So please note it, guys. If you know this information, now we can solve the many questions very easily. Okay, now let us enjoy the examples. Yeah, well, see in this example, so we are taking a molecule of the propane, alkane, propane we are taking, and we are subjecting to the monochlorination and giving the how many products? 2 products. Okay, so guys, here see, first you have to identify in the given alkane, first thing it is, okay, identify the types of equivalent and non-equivalent hydrogens. Okay, based on the number of the products you can do that. Okay, so here see all these 6 hydrogens, okay, all these 6 hydrogens are the equivalent hydrogens, because they on replacement they will give the same product, and these 2 are the, okay, non-equivalent with respect to A. Okay, right. So now let us see how to calculate the percentage yield. Okay, percentage, okay, yield of first and second compound. Consider this is the first compound and this is second compound. Let us see that percentage yield of first compound is equal to how much. Let us see that. So for that, what we have to know, I told you the formulas now. So what are the formulas? Okay, so I will show you that formula again. Let's see. Here percentage yield of alkyl halide is equal to relative amount of that product by total amount of all the products. Okay, first let us calculate the relative amount. How to calculate the relative amount? Number of equivalent hydrogens producing the product into their relative reactivity. Okay, let's see that now. So guys, here see, if you take the first compound, what is the first compound? 1-chloropropane. So to produce this one, okay, first let us calculate, okay, relative amount of first product. Okay, that is equal to what here? So for in the production of the first product, how many hydrogens are the equivalent hydrogens? 6 hydrogens. So number of equivalent hydrogens producing this product are the 6. And what is their reactivity? So which hydrogens are these? So these are the primary hydrogens. So primary hydrogen reactivity is a 1. So its relative amount is a 6. And next, also calculate the relative amount of the second compound here. What is the second compound? 2-chloropropane. So how many hydrogens are able to produce this product? That is equal to 2 hydrogens. Okay, any one of these 2 hydrogen can produce this product by the substitution. So number of those hydrogens, okay, are equivalent hydrogens producing this product are the 2. And which hydrogen? It is secondary hydrogen. So secondary hydrogen chlorination reaction. Now I told you that in the secondary hydrogens in the chlorination reaction, what is the reactivity? 3.8. Okay, so multiply it with a 3.8 here. So it will be equal to 7.6. Okay, right. So these are the relative amount of the first and second compound. Now what you do is take the total, okay, total amount of all the products. Okay, so here total amount of 1 and 2. that is equal to what here? Okay, 6 plus, okay, 7.6, that is equal to 13.6 we are getting. Okay, this information is enough to answer the question. Now let's see percentage yield. So percentage yield is equal to yield is equal to what, guys? Okay, percentage yield is equal to, here see, we have the formula. So with that formula we can calculate that. So percentage yield is equal to relative amount of the product. Okay, percentage, okay, yield of first product is equal to relative amount of the first product. What is the relative amount of the first product? 6 by total amount of the all the products. Total amount of the all the products is equal to 13.6 into 100. That's all, guys. Simplified. If you simplify it, you will get the answer. Okay, on simplification, already I did it. I'm telling you that 44.12%. That means 1-chloropropane is formed by how much percent? 44.12%. And similarly, you can calculate the percentage yield of the second compound. Na? So that is equal to what? So what is the relative amount of the second compound? Already we calculated that relative amount of the second compound is a 7.6 here, and total amount is equal to 13.6. So 7.6 by 13.6 here into 100. So on simplification, you will get it as a 55.88. Okay, so this much of percentage it is produced. That's all, guys. Okay, you have to do like this. If you do like this, okay, you can calculate the percentage amount of any compound. Okay, now let me give you some more examples here. Okay, so that you will get the very clarity. Yeah, let us go through that. Yeah, see, guys, here now we are taking the same propane, but we are going through the bromination, monobromination. So we are getting the two products, 1 bromopropane, 2 bromopropane. Let us calculate relative amount of the first component, second compounds. Okay, relative, okay, amount of first compound. Okay, how many equivalent hydrogens are there to produce a first compound? 6 equivalent hydrogens are there. So 6 into their reactivity. For primary hydrogens, reactivity is equal to 1 for both chlorination and bromination, that is equal to 6. And relative amount of the second compound. So second compound means which hydrogens are producing the second compound? Secondary hydrogens. How many equivalent secondary hydrogens are there? 2. So 2 into their reactivity. What is the reactivity of the secondary hydrogen in the bromination? I told you now, the relative reactivity of the secondary hydrogen. Okay, relative reactivity of the secondary hydrogen in the bromination is equal to 82 times. So multiply with the 82. Okay, now so that is equal to 164. Now what you do? Take sum of okay, the relative amount. Sum of relative amounts is equal to what, guys? If you take sum, okay, it is equal to 170. Now that's all. You can solve the remaining thing now. So what is the percentage yield? Okay, let us see that. Okay, percentage yield of first compound, that is equal to what? So its relative amount is a 6 and total amount is a 170 into 100. So if you simplify it, okay, it is equal to 3.53%. Okay, 3.53%. Remember that. And whereas the relative amount of the second compound, okay, is equal to how much? So it's percentage yield of the second compound is equal to relative amount is a 164 by total amount is equal to 170 into 100. So if you simplify it, okay, you will get it as a 96.47%. See how to calculate the percentage of yield. Okay, like this you have to do. Hope you understand this. Okay, now, right, guys. Okay, I will give you some more examples for the sake of your practice. Okay, you can solve that. Well, guys, see here, I'm giving you some examples for the sake of your practice. Okay, do practice. Okay, and just post your answer in the comment box. Okay, if it is right, okay, good. If it is wrong, well and good. Why? Because okay, we can learn it correctly and I will make it correct. Okay, so don't forget to send your answer in the comment box. Okay, right. So for that I'm giving the different numbers. Okay, like Roman letter 1, 2 and alphabet A, B, like that. Okay, now, right. So you see I'm taking the butane. So 2 butanes we can write now, N-butane, isobutane. So in the N-butane, when you subject to the monochlorination, we are getting the 2 products. So because 2 types of hydrogens are there, A and B type. Calculate their percentage of yield. And then the monobromination also we are getting the 2 products, calculate their percentage of the yield. Similarly, isobutane is also having the 2 types of the hydrogens. Already we discussed that. Okay, these 9 hydrogens are the equivalent because they will give the same product on monosubstitution. And here it is another. So we are getting the 2 products. So calculate their percentage of the yield. Okay, now calculate their percentage of the yield and post your answer. Okay, right. Thank you, guys. Okay, here I will tell you one more thing here. You must remember that. Okay, suppose guys here see, okay, here see, particularly in the chlorination of the ethane, when you subject it to the monochlorination, what you will get here? Ethyl chloride you are getting. But when you reacting with the excess of the chlorine, what we will get is, okay, hexachloroethane we will get, okay. Hexachloroethane we are getting, all the hydrogens are replacing. So this hexachloroethane is called as a artificial camphor. Okay, now artificial camphor important for the computer exams. Okay, this is called as artificial camphor. And one more important thing is that, so during the chlorination of these reactions, okay, hallucination of these reactions, if a trace amount of oxygen is present, okay, if oxygen is present, what happens is reactivity decreases. Why? Because so it can combine with the alkyl radical. This oxygen will combine with the alkyl radical to form a peroxy radical, something like this. Okay, so it what happens is reactivity decreases. Okay, remember these are the important things, okay, for the chlorination of alkane. Okay, hope you understand, guys. Okay, you enjoyed a lot. I think so. So guys, if you feel this video is a good, okay, make sure to share with your friends. Okay, and also share in the WhatsApp, Facebook, Insta, whatever the social media you have. Okay, don't forget. And guys, if you have any doubt, okay, send your doubt in the comment box. Okay, and guys, if you need any more topic also, okay, if you need any more topic also to understand, if you feel difficult, so feel free to send, okay, in the comment box. Okay, definitely I will make a video on that concept also. Okay, thank you guys, thank you very much. Okay, thank you for watching, thank you for giving like, and thank you for subscribing my channel. Okay, bye bye. I will meet you in next video. Okay, bye for now. Bye bye guys, all the very best.